What's up everybody, this is Toby and this is Positive Grid's new Spark Live amp. My name's Toby, I'm a bass player from Australia. I play in a two-bass band called The Amnific. We've toured the US, Canada, Europe, the UK and Australia. So when Positive Grid reached out for me to try their new amp that can also handle bass, I was very excited because I'm always looking for the best next new thing when it comes to bass. So what is the Spark Live? It's a 4-channel input stereo PA speaker with an amp-like feel. How does it have an amp-like feel? Because in the hood it has amp, cab and effects modelers built in. Because it's a flat response PA speaker, that means you can throw any instrument at it, whether it's bass, guitars or vocals. Everything can be manipulated and massaged to your kind of liking. I was honestly really surprised when I plugged my bass in how much low end I could actually get out of it, but the low end is really clean and big, and not to mention this thing gets like really loud for the size. I was like really surprised about how loud it was. I have not even turned it up all the way because I'm scared it's going to shake my walls too much. So how do you control the sounds coming out of the amp? Well, they've got an app called Spark and you can adjust any settings that you want within the app. You can adjust the gate, the compressor, the drive, the amp EQ, gain and volume, the EQ settings, delay and reverb. It connects to your amp via Bluetooth and also means you can hook up your Spotify to the amp and play music through it just as a general speaker or to jam along to. The amp and cab modelers are only available in channel 1. In channel 2, that is for acoustic and bass preamps. So instead of the amps and cabs, it has an acoustic, vocal and bass preamps available, but all the effects are still available in channel 2. So if you're jamming with a guitarist, you want to plug the guitar into channel 1 but bass into channel 2. But if you're just jamming as a bass player, plug it into channel 1 and you've got access to the amp and the cab. I'm now going to play through some of the presets that I made that are going to be available on the Tone Cloud. So looking at the front panel, you have the ability to have 8 hardware presets. This comes preloaded with 8 presets and you can also load your own into each of these banks, which means if you don't have access to the app, then you can use any of the hardware presets that are currently stored on the head at the time. You then have gain and EQ knobs of bass, mid, treble. As a bass player, I would play with that bass knob and see how much you can push out of that while still feeling nice and clean and not getting too boomy. Because it's a PA speaker, you can really crank that bass knob without it getting too boomy, but it can still be very full and rich. And you've also got your guitar volume, which will be your volume of input number 1, and then the music volume, which will be the music coming from your phone. So now looking at the back panel, there's further EQ adjustments that you can make with the low, the mid, the high, and the volume of the master. So if you're cranking that guitar volume on the front and cranking this volume here in the back, I guess you could say that'd be the maximum volume of the amp. And you've got the channel 2 input, which can take a 1/4 inch or an XLR, XLR being for vocals. There is also 4 hardware presets here on channel number 2, the same deal as the front, as you can access that if you don't have access to the app or the internet at the time. Keeping up with the modern times, Spark also has MIDI in, so you can control all your crazy automations if you're using this in a live context. It's got 2 outputs, left and right, for stereo, and you've got channel 3 and 4, which can be used as a stereo input or as 2 individual inputs. Channel 3 going through the left and channel 4 going through the right. And then you've also got the volume for both of those. And over here, you can plug in your headphones, or you've got a USB-C cable which can connect to your computer, which means that you can actually use this as an audio interface and record the tones straight from the amp. There's also a kickstand that comes out in the back, which means you can prop up the amp on an angle, either vertically or horizontally. All my presets will be available on the Tone Cloud for you guys to play with and explore the sound of the Spark Live. This amp genuinely surprised me. I didn't really expect such a loud bass sound to come from such a small speaker, but because, like I've been saying, it's a PA speaker and you can really mold exactly kind of what tone you want to come out of it. Even if you didn't want to use the app and you want to use your own tones, whether it's your own amp sims or cab sims or effects from somewhere else, just using this as a really good speaker for your tones to come out really transparently and how you want them and to be able to mold them into a way that you really like. This is actually just really good for that, and it just makes sense why all the tones come out so clean and clear and accurate, just because it's a PA speaker and it just responds to this kind of stuff really well. If you already have the app for other amps, they've now got the 76 compressor on there as well as the bass preamp on there, so update the app if you've already got it. But otherwise, thanks for joining me and I'll see you guys next time. This bad boy can fit so many slaps in it.